Story 1. I'm Greg, and I don't even know why I'm starting like this. But here it goes. I couldn't sleep last night. Sat in my old car idling outside the closed diner off the highway's dead end. Gas station neon buzzing. My only company is the rain drumming on the windshield. I know this sounds crazy, but back then, that place felt alive. Like it welcomed us into some hidden quiet. Me and my friend Mark. He worked nights there. I tagged along sometimes, so I wouldn't go nuts studying for finals. I can't remember exactly how we even ended up doing this. Maybe it was boredom. Maybe it was that soft diner smell. Cheap coffee stirring something in both of us. We'd close out the register together. Mark scrawling out sales while I filled sauce packets or wiped tables that never stopped feeling sticky. I'd lean against the counter, flipping through muscle memory. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but didn't he mention something odd one night about spotting someone in the kitchen when they were locked? Or that the freezer door rattled, though nobody was inside? I think he did. He laughed it off. Craig, dude, brain's messing with me. But then we both heard the hiss. Still, that's not even half of it. That night, September something, I just see it in flashes. Like I jotted it on scraps of napkins that got smeared later. I'm grabbing coffee for Mark and me. Black, no sugar. Steam, coiling. He's watching me sip before saying, "Did you hear that?" I stop, focus on the hum of the fridge. Nothing but humming. I know I shrugged and told him I heard nothing. Then there's a crash, not loud, like a pan falling in the back. He jumps, and I swear, as I'm turning, I see a smear of red on his sleeve. Guess I gasped because he looked down and shook his arm and, "It's ketchup, Jesus," he said, trying to laugh, wiping his sleeve with a rag that got bright red. He convinced me it was just sauce. Some bottle had busted, but I knew. I don't know what I knew. Didn't sleep that night either. The weirdness goes slow. Like when the jukebox in the corner played classical music. Old soft piano, though we never put in $1. Just started half a song in the middle. Mark faked a scowl and pulled the plug, like it was fine, but his fingers were trembling. Like I guess we were both lying to ourselves, catastrophically. I swear I found letters. Like paper receipts, but not from the register. They were stapled behind it. Little notes. "He's hungry," or "Don't let him in." Mark told me I was pulling from some horror flick. My brain watched again. But he didn't skip the next night. He just stared into the omelet grill after hours. Wooden spatula loose, blinking. The nights compressed. We both started skipping clocks. I could have sworn I flipped the close sign an hour ago. Now, customers gone, street lights flicking outside. He's at the window, whispering that he saw someone standing in the parking line, pale except for blood, masked. He couldn't say. I glared out, thinking it was a joke, but there was this wet footprint across the tile floor when I turned around. We cleaned it, but that didn't stop it. Seemed like every night the coffee machine leaked. Black drips, but too dark. And once, the old creaky back door shivered on its hinges, like something pushed it from the other side. I wasn't there. I was out taking my break. Mark called and I raced back. The door stopped swinging, and he was staring at the empty street, lips parted, shaking. I didn't ask questions. Later, after another night like that, I was wiping the grill and felt something cold, a drop on my hand. Blood? No, it was too slick. I looked up and Mark wasn't there. Not behind the counter, not in the back. I called, my voice hollow, hands shaking. He came back from the walk-in cooler, face ashen. I thought I heard her laugh, he said. I told him we'd pack up. Let's get out. But he just stared at the cooler door, like it was going to swing open, and something stirred in there just past the humidity swirl. I wanted to march in and rip it open, but I couldn't. I just stood, because that's when it clicked. Mark was gone, just me, and that thing was inside with me. Next morning, when the sun showed up, it was worse. The countertop was smeared, dry blood, and behind the register, that note again, new this time, saying, "Let it feed." And I booked it out of there. I left school. I'm in this car now because I can't, won't ever. And yet I find myself skimming back there at night, in the rain, wondering if I missed something. Maybe he's still there. And if I go in, what's in the cooler behind that door? I'll look once more. I'll find the note, or the blood stain I never scrubbed away because I thought, maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But wasn't it always wet in that part of the counter? Maybe he never left. Maybe I didn't leave. I don't know anymore. Something is there, waiting, precise in its hunger, and I can't shake it. So I keep driving, looping back, hoping one day I wake and it's just part of a dream. But it never is. Story 2. I'm Blake, and I never meant for any of this to happen. I don't even know how to say what happened without shaking. But here goes. I was working the graveyard shift at the rural motel. Just me and, well, one other guy, Danny. He was supposed to be just the night porter, checking folks in, doing the paperwork. That old echoed drywall lobby with the broken coffee machine. I know this sounds crazy, but I started keeping a little log, not because I thought it'd mean anything, but maybe so I'd remember the nights. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But isn't that how it all starts? Like jotting bullet points on the receipt pad. Date, time, clack of typewriter keys. Some guess names I didn't bother caring about. Anyway, the log became my confidant. A night I wrote, guest 302 left at midnight. Smelled like hospital, and there's a smear on the pillow. I went to check, thinking someone spilt coffee. But no, it was red, not ketchup red, real red. And I couldn't scrub it off. I used the stain remover spray, the hotel soap, still there. Danny said it was just old dye from whatever. But the dye shouldn't be red. Not like that. The log entries got more scattered. One said, door to room 307 snaps shut at 3 a.m. No breeze. Then machine kept making noise, like hums out of key. And then silence. And scream? Just a word, like a bullet. The next morning, I asked Danny if he heard it. He looked at me like I'd lost it. Maybe I had. He said the guest in 307 checked out in a rush, said they'd lost something in the room. I prodded. Maybe they'd dropped a kid's toy or photo. Danny shook his head and went quiet. My memory from then is more jagged, like final notes, with gaps in between. I wrote, used camera to inspect, lens fogged inside, got scratched or something scratched me. There was a red mark on my forearm that morning. Then I swear I saved the picture, but the card's blank. The memory card. And I don't trust my own eyes. One night, the phone rang in the lobby at 2:17 a.m. I answered, told guest services. Caller said, "Help me," and hung up. No room number, just "help me." I called Danny, but he'd gone back to the office to check supplies or something. By the time I turned around, the drift of the hallway lights was off. Like the buzzing went uneven. And just at the edge, I glimpsed something, like a silhouette, slipping behind the corner. I don't know. I wrote down, shape moves behind 309, and I saw blood on the walls. Not dripping, speckled. I nearly blacked out that shift. When I came to, the desk was covered with cash and receipts in orgy of chaos. And on top, a handwritten note, no printer, scrabbled, "She's waiting." I flipped the note around, smelling that adult mouthwash taste, burning in my mouth. I didn't want to go back in the office, to the night porter's walkie-talkie, silent. Danny wasn't there. His log was gone too, just blank pages in his notebook. I booked it, drove out, but I wake up in a panic at 2 a.m., thinking there's a knock on my motel room door. I check the peephole. It's just darkness. I slam it locked, sweat soaking my clothes. I wrote in my log, "It followed me." Now I can't sleep elsewhere. I store my tablet in the trunk so I can keep typing logs in case something shows. Something I thought I saw, or maybe didn't. I keep adding lines like, "Hear the hum under the floors." Or, "I wash the red stain off my arm. No mark, and still feel wet." Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But wasn't there a blood stain on the lobby rug? The one I cleaned so many times. I thought I scrubbed it out. But this morning, it was back. The same spatter. Maybe Danny never left that office. Or maybe he went behind that door in 307 and never came back. I can't tell where I had to run. All I know is I didn't want to believe. But staying didn't feel safe. Not anymore. I don't finish logs anymore. But I keep awake listening, waiting for a hum that glitches, for the soft breath behind me. Because it's not gone. Just waiting. That's where it ends. I'm here, in borrowed air, trying not to hear the quiet. Trying not to feel it in the next room. The ending's not clean. It never is. Because it's still in that motel, behind doors, in scratches you can't see, only feel. Story 3. I'm Sam, and I don't know why I'm typing this out loud. But here it is. Worked the graveyard shift alone at that old Forest Trail Visitors Center. You know, the one just past mile marker 12, where the trees start to press in and your breath fogs up the window real quick. I was alone, except for my buddy Jake. He'd pop in sometimes, on his way home from whatever night job he had. But mostly it was pitch black out there, pine shadows shifting, and me behind the desk, digital log open, cursor blinking. I know this sounds crazy, but is that how it always starts? A blinking cursor. I kept a log, only for me, not dated, just time-stamped. Entry 1, 3:12 a.m. Visitor came by, asked directions off trail. I told him no one goes that way after dark. Then later, 3:47. We lost power. Just my flashlight now. I'd hit save, stare at the dark map on screen. The trees outside felt closer. Next bit, 4:11. Jake called. He said he heard something rustling near the trailhead. Sounded heavy. I laughed, told him I'd check after closing. Nothing there. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. But wasn't there someone standing there then? Just for a second. 4:37. My hand shaking. Think I saw a figure bending over a signpost in the trail parking. Flash ran cold, but the moon was thick clouds, and nothing made sense. Then, 4:50. Phone's gone. I set it on the counter. Now it's in my pocket. I blink. Check the drawer. It's not there. I know, none of this made sense, but I couldn't ignore it. Memory stutters between thoughts. I do this weird thing. I talk aloud when I'm alone. Don't laugh, Sam, I'd whisper. Not tonight. I catch myself staring at my reflection in the monitor. Eyes too tired. Black rings heavy. Then there's blood. At first I thought it was the red paint I used on the trail lines, but no. It's on the edge of the desk, glistening. I touch it with a glove, dark, sticky, and there's a note underneath, typed, clean. He shows at midnight. I didn't write it. I jam backlogs into the log. 5:02. I'm not sure where that note came from. Didn't type it. 5:25. Is that footsteps? Followed by breathing? Nothing else in the room. I click in the trail camera feed. Nothing. Forest that looks still, except one branch swaying like someone's hand messed it. I phone Jake again. First, the line's crackling. He says, Sam, don't go back there. I ask where he is. He says, outside. I heard, saw something. The line goes dead. Then, 5:47, I left the center, walked to the door. The trees looked like they watched me. Didn't lock it. That line's raw. I scribble, 6:03, back inside. Center is dark, but there's a lantern on the counter. Mine? I didn't leave it. Then, 6:14, I find new bloody handprint on the visitor's log book cover, and guests, there were none. I go to leave again. Doors heavy, bulges at the glass door. Breath, I flashlight. The glass smeared red. I'm sweating. I'm panicked. Then the voice recorder picks up. I never said it. Tell him. It crackles in low voice. I copy and paste that line into the log. Then, 6:31, tap, tap, tap at the window. But outside, nothing. I back away. There's motion in the trees behind. Human posture. Then, wrong. I stew. Logic slides away. 6:48. I grabbed my car keys, but they're on the desk, under that note. Keys on desk, not in pocket. 6:56. Footsteps behind me in the center. I breathe so loud I can't even. They stop. I don't turn. Then, 7:21. Clicks of heels or sticks? I can't tell. 7:10. Phone vibrates. Vibration is odd. On the desk. Not ringing. Vibration lasts minutes. I dump coffee. Forgot I poured. I text Jake. Where are you? No answer. Then, 7:25. I get in the car. Lights dim. The center behind me window is glass. I see a shape standing there. Not moving exactly. Just still. I delete that line. Finally, 7:32. I drove off. I look in the rearview mirror at the center's facade. Something is at the window peering out. Then it's gone. That's the last log. I can't go back. But sometimes, when I sleep in my apartment, I think I hear tapping at my door or static on my phone. Sometimes I wonder if the things at the window moved on, or if they stayed. Maybe they followed. I kept the logs, but I can't read them anymore without hearing the taps, feeling those eyes on me, even here under artificial light. I know it sounds crazy. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I swear there's something still watching. And there's no note now. No final message to tell me why or what. It's gone silent, and I'm listening for it.